welcome you back once again in geological knowledge. So as in the previous few lectures we have discussed some very important questions related to the objective geology, and in especially we have talked about the rock forming minerals, in which we have talked about like minerals like quartz families, okay, feldspar family, and carbonate group of minerals, and some miscellaneous types of minerals like corundum, barytes, and the softest known mineral ever, that is talc, means their uses, their applications, and their physical as well as the chemical properties, the chemical formula as well. So in the continuation of that objective geology series, from today we will start another very important branch of geology, and that is the petrology. So in petrology we will discuss about, firstly we will discuss about igneous petrology. Okay, so this will be the first video in that sequence, and firstly we will talk about the very basic parameters or very basics of petrology. And in petrology we will discuss firstly the igneous petrology, then metamorphic, and then sedimentary we will discuss. Okay, so first question deals with the branch of geology which deals with various aspects of rock is known as. So this is very basic and very fundamental question, and I should say this is one of the easiest question. Okay, so this question has been included just to revise the things which you have studied in your classes, in the first year classes. Okay, so it's sometimes it's very important for one to understand the basics first. Okay, then we will move over to the tougher part. Okay, so the branch of geology dealing with the study of or the various aspects of rocks is known as, we all know, that is petrology. Okay, options are petrology, mineralogy, lithology, or the rockology. So we all know that is there is no such term like lithology. Lithology is the term, mineralogy is the study of minerals. Okay, but petrology that deals with the branch of geology dealing with the various aspects of rock, such as how they are formed in the environment, or in which type of environment they are being formed, what are the physical as well as the chemical parameters for the formation of those rocks, and their classification, the basis of their classification, and also the occurrences, means their formation, their classification, and ultimately their occurrences in the Indian shield, or we can talk about the global occurrences. Okay, so that study of classification, distribution, or the formation of rocks is known as petrology. Okay, so this was a very basic question. Okay, so correct option here is option A, petrology. Next question deals with the what are the two conditions believed to be required for the formation of igneous rocks. So this question is dealing with the two important conditions which are generally believed to be required for the formation of igneous rocks. Options are given: low temperature and molten state and very high temperature, molten state and moderate temperature, crystallized state and the moderate temperature. So firstly we will just take a brief look at the rocks. So we must understand that what is rock. The question in the exams can come, there may be a question on rock, or it may or may not consist of rock, but you must understand the basics, okay, because these are the basics of the igneous petrology, or we must call them petrology. Okay, so what are the rocks? So we can define simply in the simple terms, they are the major part of the earth's crust, and we can define them as the aggregate of minerals. Okay, so just in one line definition, rocks are defined as the aggregate of minerals. Okay, and some rocks such as quartzite, the best example being quartzite and marble, okay, they contain grains of only one mineral. We all know that is quartzite, that is basically formed of quartz, and marble, that consists of only calcite. So these are the one mineral only, they contain only one mineral, but most are composed of variety of different minerals, okay. And the rocks, they are broadly classified into three major groups: the igneous rocks, metamorphic rocks, and the sedimentary rocks, okay. So firstly we have started our discussion with the igneous rocks, okay. So if we talk about the basics of igneous rocks, so approximately more than 90% of the earth's crust, that is composed of igneous rocks, but their great abundance is hidden on the Earth's surface by relatively thin layer of sedimentary as well as the metamorphic rocks. So what I mean to say is that the 90%, or we can say approximately greater than 90% of Earth's crust, that is composed of igneous rocks, but majority of its abundance, that is hidden on the Earth's surface, because they are covered by the sedimentary and the metamorphic rocks. So igneous rocks, they are formed by the cooling and the solidification of magma, and magma is a hot viscous siliceous melt containing water vapor and gases, okay. So that is some basics about petrology and especially igneous petrology. Now we come back to our question: what are the two conditions believed to be required for the formation of igneous rocks? So we all know that is a very high temperature and a molten state are the two very important conditions for the original material from which the igneous rocks are believed to have been formed, okay. one. Next question is, where are the volcanic rocks formed? Okay, under the surface of the earth, on the surface of the earth, inside the core, or between mantle. Okay, so these are basically, these questions are generally related with the occurrences of igneous rocks. We all know that is, the igneous rocks have been classified broadly in two types: extrusive igneous rocks and intrusive igneous rocks. So we all know that is, magma is produced deep in the earth's crust, where temperature are of order of 900 to 1600 degrees Celsius. So it's high temperature, and it's being lighter than the surrounding rocks that works it away towards the surface. And on the consolidation, it produces two major types of igneous rocks, that is extrusive and intrusive. So we all know, when the magma reaches the earth's surface, it causes a volcanic eruption. So this eruption generates extensive lava flows, and the rocks are formed due to the solidification of lava. These are known as extrusive igneous rocks. And the extrusive rocks, they are also known as volcanic rocks. Okay, so as you can see, now we come to our question or the options we see: under the surface of the earth, on the surface of the earth, between the mantle, or the inside the core. So now it's very evident, we can see the option B, on the surface of the earth. And the same is given in the description box. As you can see, volcanic rocks are the rocks, igneous rocks, formed on the surface of the earth by cooling as well as the solidification of the crystallization of lava erupted from the volcanoes. Okay, so right option or the correct option here is option B. Next one is, what is the grain size of volcanic rocks? Very coarse, intermediate, or very fine? So since the lava cools down at a very rapid rate or a very faster rate compared tree. One, Hypabisol. 12th one is which is the most dominant constituent of igneous rocks? Al2O3 or alumina, SiO2 or silica, CaCO3 or calcite, or CaO or calcium oxide. So we all know that is or silicon oxide, silicon dioxide. In terms of the chemical composition, silica is the dominant, one of the most dominant constituents of the igneous rocks. Okay, and secondly comes the alumina. Okay, and the importance or the significance of importance and significance of SiO2 or the silicon dioxide, you can see the classification. When we will discuss about the classification of igneous rocks, there we will discuss the significance, that what is the role of SiO2 in the igneous petrology especially. Okay, the classification of the igneous rocks that has been done on the basis of the presence of the or the proportion of SiO2 in various rocks. Okay, so option B, that is SiO2, is the correct option. And the next one, or the most abundant or the most dominant, is SiO2, but the next or the secondly comes the Al2O3. So you have to keep in mind both SiO2 at the first point and Al2O3 as second spot or the second minerals. Okay. Question deals with the 13th one. The mineral most abundantly present in the igneous rock is. Four options are micas, titanium, iron, as well as the feldspars. So in terms of the mineralogical composition, if we talk about, feldspars are the most common minerals of igneous rocks. Okay, and even amphiboles, pyroxene, quartz, they are also present to some extent, but most important one, or the most abundantly present in igneous rock mineral, that is feldspar, and others are present only in the subordinate amount. Okay, so the option D, that is feldspar, is the right one. Next one is, what is the approximate percentage of silica present in the igneous rocks? 10%, 26%, 59%, or 15%. So the approximate percentage of silica that is present in igneous rocks is greater than or equal to 59%, and alumina is about 15%. And this percentage wise classification was given by the data of Clark and Washington. Okay, so there is a classification of igneous rocks by CIPW, Clark, Eddington, Pearson, CIPW, Clark, Eddington, Pearson, and Washington. Okay, we will discuss it in later or in the next video, but as the question is there, that the approximate percentage of silica present in the igneous rock is 59%. Okay, and the next aluminium or alumina is about 15%. Okay, and as we have discussed, this was given by the data of Clark and Washington. Okay, so this was our discussion about some very basic questions related to the igneous petrology, and especially we have talked only the basic part, like the how they are formed, the rock definition of rocks, the lava, the magma. Okay, and the basic minerals present in the igneous rocks, especially the feldspar and the quartz. Okay, and in the next video we will talk about other very important questions related to the structures and the textures of igneous rock. Okay, thank you.